Oh my
hello.
goodness. Hello. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you and to all of the viewers.
Hello.
What a New Year it's been.
Wow. There's been so much awesome wrestling that has happened so far this year, and I have cried. Clearly, I've cried. Yeah. So
people don't even need to ask. I cried. And I cried again this morning. Of course.
By default.
Anyway, I've totally forgot. My name is Kiley.
I'm Collins.
And this is Wrestling Made Me Cry, a show where we talk about wrestling that makes us cry.
Yeah.
Of course. My wrestling shirt of the day. It's Kenny Omega.
I know. Couldn't have been more more timely.
I cannot express to you. I cannot express to you. Okay. Kyle says, I don't know who cried the most, me or Tanahashi, after that masterpiece.
Okay, when as there's tears welling up in my eyes that I'd been crying. Like, why did I even put on makeup yesterday? Not sure. But like, if you've ever worn mascara, when you cry, and it's like, it's not just like the little casual stream. It's like the big, thick, like cry eyes. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. He's back. Oh my gosh.
He's back in the Tokyo Dome.
He's back in the Tokyo Dome. And then they panned to Tanahashi, who was absolutely losing it. Who was just
sobbing. Real tears.
Real
tears.
He just...
Did you see that New Japan has been copyright striking everyone that posts the picture? I was really worried about the thumbnail for this video because I was making it this morning and I was like, I don't know. But we're fine for now. But the original version of this thumbnail, a little insider tea, had the Tanahashi picture in it. I yanked it out so fast.
Yeah.
I yanked that out so fast. So fingers crossed. But Kenny Omega is back.
Yeah. He's not just like...
He's not just back.
Which is all we wanted. That's all we wanted. We just wanted some iteration of Kenny Omega. No, he's back.
He's so back. He looks so good.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like he's in fantastic shape, healthy, and in fantastic shape. A little leaner than he was before, but he did not act like it.
Right.
He wrestled a phenomenal freaking match. I just want to get some comments in.
31 minutes, by the way. 31 minutes.
Solo says, rewatched that Omega Kid match twice already. Great to see Gabe get a great showing after his banger 2024 run. Agree. JPJ says, Kenny Omega is back, baby.
Woo woo! Kenny Omega!
Kenny versus Gabe, and I want to talk about this. Kenny versus Gabe is 2025 match of the year standard.
Yeah.
That match was put on my match of the year list before it was done. They wrestled like 5 minutes and I was like, yeah.
This is it.
This is it. This is everything.
Well, it's like he didn't like skip a beat. You know what I mean? Like we went from him being the belt collector, time warp, and we know in kayfabe the trials and tribulations of what diverticulitis is, like how Kenny has been reported, things that like, you know, Nakazawa has said, watching his friend Jabali, Michael Jabali? Is that gamer guy?
The video game guy, yeah.
Yeah. He even had said like he is a shell of who he is, like this isn't the same thing. Like it's like watching Adam Copeland wrestle for the first time after 11 years. Because I know how bad you were injured. Yeah. And you are wrestling like you still have the belts. You like, sir, don't you want to like take it easy?
Yeah. And
yeah.
Kind of gets that. JPJ says, was I the only one that was nervous that Kenny grabbing his stomach was real? Yes. And let me tell you, he was grabbing his stomach, and I thought of Collins because I was like, this is my version of Bryan Danielson doing the leg shakes thing.
Yes.
I was like, this is that for me. because if you didn't watch the match, or maybe you were just so absorbed in how incredible he looked, he kept grabbing his stomach, which diverticulitis is like an intestinal stomach disease. And we know that is a big deal because when he was in AEW, he came back briefly and he said, if I take a hit in my stomach, like I'm out, I have to get surgery again. Mm-hmm. And the Young Bucks hit him again, which led to surgery again. And I was so nervous and they played into it so hard. I was floored. Such a great match. We have a super chat from Kyle who says, much love, ladies. Thank you, Kyle. If you guys want your question, your comment, anything read on air, make sure to submit a super chat and we'll read all of those. We try to keep up with chat, but sometimes we get like in our own little zone. So that's chats is the way to go.
The nature of the beast, you know.
It's the nature of the beast. But he kept grabbing his stomach, but he did things in this match that I didn't expect, because I was on social media yesterday and people were already doing the whole Kenny Omega's going to be washed. Kenny Omega's, he's not going to wrestle like he used to. He's, you know, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. I don't think he lost a single step.
No.
Absurd.
Even like the final moment of like the One Wing Angel, which I was like, that has to be like the most painful thing. I mean, when he had like the vertigo stuff, that's where he said like a lot of his pain was coming from.
Yeah.
Because once you do that and you're up here, how do you orient the other person when you have vertigo? So even seeing that was like,
and I think a lot of people don't realize how much your core, like the muscles of your stomach, go into lifting things over your head. Like anything that you do where like you're moving your arms, your stomach is engaged. So it's like Kenny being able to lift Gabe up, spoiler alert, for the One Wing, and then a lot of other stuff he did, and we'll get into it. We're going to dissect this now because we have to, because I need to talk about it. Just absurd levels of strength that you would not expect from someone who was knocking on death's door not that long ago.
Yeah.
We have a super chat from Chi-Town Spurs who says, how am I supposed to go back to watching Mox duct tape old people after Wrestle Dynasty? Good freaking question, bud. Good freaking question, bud. Good freaking question. I don't know.
Oh my God.
And I've been going back and forth with people all morning on Twitter and on Blue Sky about whether or not Kenny Omega should defeat Jon Moxley and become AEW World Champion. And here, I'm Team Kenny Omega, and here's my rationale.
Always. Mm-hmm.
I think we have lost 2+ years, if you add up the injury time of Kenny Omega's first injury and then the diverticulitis. 2-ish plus years of his prime years, right? Like his 30s. I don't think you can lose any more. And I think Kenny beating Mox, no offense to Darby, obviously. This is not a knock on Darby at all.
I know, poor guy.
But I think Kenny Omega coming back, especially on, you know, the momentum of Wrestle Dynasty, right? Where people are like, oh my God, Kenny's not washed. She's the GOAT. I'm so excited for Okada. Kenny coming back and beating Jon Moxley is a more compelling story. I'm sorry. It just is. And I think it's not a knock on Darby, but the issue is, one, if Darby wins the belt, Darby beats Moxley whenever it happens, right? That's going to be in the shadow of Kenny Omega versus Okada. There's no way around it, right? And it's like, do you want Darby's first world title reign to be like, it should have been Kenny. It should have been Kenny. Because people are going to say that. Or even it should have been Hangman, because Hangman reign is going strong too.
And then we could have a Hangman versus Kenny again.
Yeah. And so poor Darby kind of gets the short end of the stick there if you give him the title. And Darby has so many years left in his career. Like, we could circle back to it. I also think that, generally speaking, not a knock on Darby, I think Kenny Omega as world champion is best for AEW right now.
Wow.
And people have said, you know, you're just saying that because, you know, he had a great Tokyo Dome match. You're just saying that because blah, blah, blah. But, like, here's the thing. Kenny Omega coming back from literal death to climb the mountain and become world champion.
Yeah.
It's an incredible story that I don't think that they should pass up. And I also think that Kenny Omega coming back from death to beat the Death Riders is an incredible story that they can't pass up. And I know Darby's next in line. I know. But like, I like the Death Riders, which I think is an unpopular opinion.
Right.
And I think people would want that story over. I think Kenny Omega coming back and doing it is a big deal. Maybe I'm in the minority on that. Maybe, but like, plans change. But
here's the thing. I don't think that that's that controversial to say. I think that the Death Riders are doing exactly what has been needed to be done in AEW, because when was the last time we had a faction be this heely, be this disruptive?
Which I like.
In AEW.
Yeah.
I mean, MJF became everybody's scumbag.
Yeah.
But he's just a scumbag. Like, let's just put that in there. MJF is just everybody's scumbag. But when was the last time a faction was this much of a heel, this disruptive, this I don't want to say the word vortexy, because it just sounds like the Chris Jericho shit that we've been trying to get away from. But the way that it's like a supernova, right? It's just sucking everything in. And who's going to stop it? But the elite.
It makes sense. It just, and like, it's not a knock on Darby, because I said this on Twitter, Blue Sky, and a lot of people were saying, I'm tired of the Darby hate, or I'm tired of people, you know.
I'm not. He could be hated more. He could be hated more.
But, and it's like, the thing is, like, it's not that I'm saying that, like, it's a completely bad idea to have Darby beat Mox, because they have spent a lot of time building it. But even now, with just Hangman in the picture, people are saying, ditch Darby for Hangman.
Yeah.
You cannot.
It's a better character.
Yeah. You cannot bring in Kenny Omega on the high of Wrestle Dynasty and have him start building something with Okada and expect Darby to have the star-studded world title reign it has to be. And people say, like, not everything needs a title, blah, 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 whatever. But, like, your world champion should be the biggest star.
Are we going to see Kenny Omega versus Okada at All In?
Kenny Okada?
Yeah.
They can't tease it as heavy as they have been and not do it.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is my flight's booked.
I was about to ask, are you going to go?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's not that far for you from Florida to...
It's not. The flights are expensive because it's summer, but, like, it's probably the last time we'll get a Kenny Okada one-on-one.
I know! Ugh!
Yeah. And I just... You can't miss it. It's one of those things, you just can't miss it. And, like, I'm fully appreciative of, not that it wasn't before, but I'm fully appreciative that, like, Kenny is getting older and, like, every match means that much more. And I think that's why him selling the stomach thing was so scary to me, because I know that he can get taken out in a second, in a heartbeat.
Sure. Yeah.
Any wrestler can, but it means more for Kenny now because he's been gone. It's 2025. He's been gone basically since 2022.
Yeah.
And so it's just, and it's not that I would be mad if Darby beat Mox and became world champion, but now you got Christian Cage in the mix, and you got Adam Copeland in the mix, and FTR is there.
Yeah.
Let's clean slate it. Clean slate. Adam and Christian go off and do a singles thing. Get them out of the picture for a little bit. Kenny comes back on Wednesday or next. He's going to be on Wednesday. They advertised him. Kenny comes back on Wednesday. We do Kenny Mox. Or we can do Kenny plus tag partner versus Young Bucks at Revolution. Get the 5 years nostalgia. I would do Hangman. And then we can do Kenny Mox at Double or Nothing. And then we can do, in July, Kenny Okada.
I like that calendar. I like it.
Yeah, and it's like Kyle says, can Christian just cash that thing in and fail already? When is he gonna cash it in?
And he doesn't have like a time limit, does he? Until like the next.
I don't think they said. Does he? Someone in chat will know.
Because he got it at All In, but All In is not the same time frame. It's 2 months
earlier.
Or a month earlier. Yeah, a month earlier. From August to July. Which, by the way, I just looked at flights
to Texas.
I could afford it if I fly in the Thursday to the Monday. But the Friday to the Sunday, if I come in on a Friday and leave on a Sunday, it's like $500.
It's because flights out on Fridays are way more expensive.
Yeah. But if I go back a couple days, a Thursday.
Listen, keep me in the loop, because if you go, I can't even think about it. Kenny Omega, I don't think you guys realize how much I adore Kenny Omega. Like, he has gotten me through the darkest times in my life. So like the fact that he is back and he's wrestling at this level, mind blown. And
it's not just like I mean, I said that it's not like a lower rank, right? He's not like, oh, I'm gonna practice on the, the jobber realm, right? He's not coming back to, not jobber realm, but he's not coming back to like wrestle enhancement talent. No, he's here to wrestle at the elite level, at the highest level, for 31 minutes. 31 minutes. That's a long time.
Okay, let's get into the match, because we need to dissect.
I'm waiting.
Piece by piece. Okay. Gabe Kid comes out. He has a Gabe Kid entrance. He's wearing a New Japan trunks. Good for him. I think this match made Gabe Kid, not just in like the eyes of Japanese fans, but I think for a lot of them, like Western fans and global fans, this was like a big deal. So I think Gabe Kid is made. I don't want to discount how good he was in this match. But like, let's talk about Kenny Omega. So Kenny has a new entrance. What did you think?
I needed to text you yesterday. I need to rewatch it because I was crying so hard from the beat.
Yes.
From the get-go, I was crying.
The entrance was great.
It felt very, it
was very emotional. It was like Kenny Omega, like it gave the vibe that like Kenny Omega, the resurgence of Kenny Omega, the Phoenix from the Ashes moment, but also this idea that Kenny Omega like is fully aware that he could have been done, not just in wrestling, in life, and like the gratefulness and the like angelicness of it all. It was, Kyle's right. It was very Kenny Omega. He comes out, he's in like a vest type thing with an Omega on the stomach. And I looked at him for 1 second and I was like, he's back. I didn't even need to see him wrestle. I was like, oh, he's back. He's in great shape. His hair looks great. He has very long hair, extensions, braids, the full thing.
All the things. I was nervous that he was going to be just in that jumper the whole time. Like
the vest thing?
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
He did come back and wrestled in that like that Under Armour kind of shirt for a while.
Yeah. The compression stuff. Yeah. But no, he said, I'm back and I'm back. And it was like, and I like, you guys if you haven't seen it, you're gonna have to look it up because it was actually really nice gear.
By the way, not that I'm plugging, I don't get a kickback from New Japan for this. $10 a month, right? There are other like Ring of Honor is also $10 a month. Like there aren't other things that are $10 a month anymore. RAP, the WWE network. $10 a month, and you have a plethora of other things. You can watch G1's back. You can watch all these things back. You can just watch one wrestler. It is in Japanese. So if you get the app, it's a little bit better. You didn't need to buy like the separate pay-per-views. No, it's just all in one. And they also send you reminders when things go live, which was really helpful because a lot of people were confused because Wrestle Kingdom was like regular evening time that they usually are. It's Saturday evening, but this was a Sunday day for Japan. So for me, instead of watching it at midnight, start time at midnight, it was start time at 8 p.m. for me. So it's like, oh, not much of a difference. But you do get those little reminders. And if you want to go, it's right there. It's right there.
Yeah.
And you could watch some little clippies too if you don't have the time.
It's so
right
good.
there. $10. $10.
And New Japan World had kind of gotten the stigma of being unusable because it was like everything was just not user friendly. It's a lot better now. They updated it. And $10, right? If you pay for $10 for this month, you get Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty. That's 2 pay-per-views. $5 a pay-per-view. Yeah. So I highly recommend, especially because like New Japan World, they like to gauge like the success of draws on New Japan World subscribers. So just throwing that out there. But you can watch Kenny Omega's thing because it's like the show's broken down and there's parts and you can just watch Kenny Omega if that's what you want. But he comes out. He looks great. He gets in the ring. He does his Kenny Omega stuff. He's so serious. And this match was so serious. I was absolutely 100% floored by how good Kenny Omega was in this match. He did the top rope springboard to the outside.
Oh, man.
That classic Tokyo Dome spot he does. He did it against Tanahashi. He did it. He does it. It was excellent. And then he starts yelling at the New Japan staff in Japanese because he's like, I need ice, my hip, I need ice. So he gets the ice, right? He puts it on his hip, and then he throws it at Gabe Kid. There's ice pack. He says, take it. He did. Kyle's right. He cleared the guardrail. He kicked the young lion. He's yelling at the young lions. They're all just looking around like, what the heck? The match itself was just absolutely superb. There was blood. So much blood.
Yeah. I also want to know the last opponent that Kenny Omega fought before everything, Ethan Page. That's how long it's been. Ethan Page in AEW.
Ethan Page isn't even there anymore.
I know.
NXT star Ethan Page, mind you.
Yeah. Crazy.
That puts everything into perspective. I will say, I think the biggest takeaway from this, obviously Kenny Omega should be AEW World Champ, but the New Japan crowd rallied behind Gabe Kid. They were cheering him. He came across not only as someone who could be a threat to like the GOAT of Kenny Omega, he came across as someone tough and, a New Japan champion, like rallied behind the cause, willing to put the company on his back, all of the things that you want in like a main event level talent. Kenny Omega made Gabe Kid in this match.
So for anyone who doesn't know, like Gabe Kid was like a young lion, like back during the height of the pandemic. And I think what makes the whole Tanahashi spot like really that much more emotional is that he watched him go from a young lion in 5 years to one of the best in New Japan, in the entire planet of Kenny Omega. And it's like watching your own child have to go through like their first bout of war and seeing them not come out on top, but still get a win in themselves. Going through a battle changes who you are as a person. That's why I love the pure championship, is because it has the stipulation of, no closed fists, there are some rope breaks, there's a time limit, but bouts like that at that heightened level do change you as a man, as a wrestler, as a human. And I think this has been the first opponent for Gabe Kid that has tested the absolute fiber of every cell, everything inside of Gabe Kid to see if he's ready to hold that promotion on his shoulders. I think he really held up his own. There were times where I'm like, oh, that's a 1, 2, 3. And how like that one point where Kenny just like casually put his foot up on the rope. I'm like, ring awareness. He knows where he is.
He's a wrestling veteran.
Yes. But like from a year ago, watching him wrestle like Finley, you know, David Finley, which like he also had a great match this weekend. But like I don't know. I haven't seen someone shoot this quickly into the main event area than Gabe Kid, going from like the young lion to main event in less than 5 years.
Yeah. Gabe Kid is a star. And I think that overall, I think this match did a lot for Gabe Kid, but I also think there's a lot of people now who are going to be watching for Gabe Kid. They're going to be watching New Japan for him, which I think that was Kenny Omega's goal. That was New Japan's goal, and I think they accomplished it. I also think, just generally speaking, I think we'll see Kenny Omega in New Japan again. I don't know if it'll be against Gabe Kid. I don't know if he'll wrestle Tanahashi, maybe. I don't know. Someone. Tanahashi also, the little Shibata exhibition situation. We'll talk about it.
I get it. Like from a liability standpoint, but
it was weird.
How many matches has Shibata had of full wrestling to prove?
I didn't. It was there. It was cute, the handshake at the end. But the Kenny Omega Gabe Kid match, the rules of it was in exhibition. So there was no time limit and very few rules. Yeah. And so there was a table spot, which scared the bejesus out of me. There was stuff on the outside. There was like no count out.
Right.
Because like it's exhibition. There's no time limit. They went 31 minutes. But I thought it was funny. Commentary said they might go all night. And then Kenny hit the one wing and won like immediately after. It was really funny. But the table spot was really great. So I'll lay it out for you. They get out the New Japan tables, which are like thick and skinny. And Gabe grabs Kenny and they're going over. Kenny grabs the guardrail. He doesn't want to get suplexed into this table. He's holding the guardrail. He's trying his best. Gabe Kid just slaps his hand away, gets the suplex. Dastardly. It was diabolical. The table breaks, but Kenny Omega hits it completely upside down.
Upside down. I know.
The legs are out. He was upside down. He took so many like head and neck bumps in this match. I was like, Kenny, do you remember Vertigo? Does diverticulitis cloud your mind so much that you forget wrestling with Vertigo for literal years?
I know. But like, also, I would like to mention New Japan, like the way that they set up the Tokyo Dome, it's not like an American show. If you've never watched a Wrestle Kingdom, never watched anything in the Tokyo Dome, because the fans do sit a little bit back.
Yes.
Like we're so used to them being like right there. So those spots where Kenny is jumping over the barrier, which I'm already like, this is so far back anyways.
It's far.
And he's clearing it. Like he's like, okay, jumping, like, okay, clearing it. That's fine. Jumping through the ropes, clearing it. Okay, that's fine.
That's freak of an athlete.
But like that also uses your core, which is where the things were happening.
I don't think that we fully like comprehend how special of an athlete Kenny Omega is, not just as a wrestler, just strict athletics. Because doing the things Kenny Omega does with Vertigo, mind you, and then coming back from Vertigo in the best shape he's ever been in, getting diverticulitis, wrestling with diverticulitis in a match of the year candidate with Ospreay. And then after diverticulitis, being like, I haven't lost a step. How do you suffer an illness that debilitating and you bounce back like that?
I don't know.
He's a freak of nature. Is Kenny Omega human?
I think I saw
his DNA.
I saw a tweet that it was like, Kenny is all gas, no brakes.
Yes. He was probably in the hospital with diverticulitis doing like leg raises or something to keep his abs.
That's like Adam Copeland, who was like hours after his surgery doing planks and videoing himself doing one-legged planks.
That was crazy. That was crazy. These guys, I don't get it.
Because they're freaks.
Yeah, and like I work out, I lift, like I'm really competitive with it.
Yeah.
If I was that sick, I would not be lifting. That's the thing. And I just know that Kenny Omega was probably out here doing deadlift or something. Or like, you remember that, I don't know if it was AW or New Japan, that video of him like running around in the woods.
Yeah.
With like a weighted vest on. He's probably doing that. He's just such a freak of nature. And I had a moment when I was watching this match where, you know, the Japanese crowds, it takes a little bit to get them hyped up because they have different like ideas about respecting performers and things like that. But when they get hype, they get hype. Japanese crowds are some of my favorite for that reason. But so the crowd is rocking. Kenny Omega and Gabe Kid are rocking. And I sat and I was like, I don't think there's anybody on his level. And I was like, Ospreay and Kyle, I thought about Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher. I was like, they made me feel something. They didn't make me feel this. And that's just, Kenny Omega is just, there's no one on his level. He is on his own at the top of the mountain. That was not a Mount Everest pun, Darby Allin. But he is on his own at the top of the mountain. And that doesn't mean that other wrestlers aren't great or excellent or elite or whatever. It's just Kenny Omega is so special that he brings such a magic to everything that he does. And nobody is ever going to touch that.
Yeah.
They just aren't. I just have so much respect for him because he could have wrapped it up.
Yeah.
You know, having a near-death experience, you could say, I don't want to risk it. I don't want to come back. I don't want to risk it. And fans would have understood. Fans would have moved on. It would have been fine. But he didn't do that. He said, I'm going to come back. I'm going to wrestle Gabe Kid. I'm going to make sure he's made so that New Japan is okay. And then I'm going to, you know, he set up his AEW stories. I am the EVP. I'm going to wrestle Okada because the fans want Omega Okada. We have to finish it. And I'm going to do what I need to do for AEW. And I have like so much respect for that. I really do, because Omega Okada is going to sell all-in tickets more than anything else. And I think Omega being back in AEW is going to bring a lot of eyes to Max or whatever, which I don't talk ratings, but I need you all to realize that any AEW rating from here on out is not going to be accurate because of Max. So
I just want to, I want to peek his side. Because, like, did you watch AEW this week on Max?
On Max, yes.
Live?
I signed up for my Max account. I didn't have one before, so I signed up. I picked my little avatar, which I picked Joel from The Last of Us. And
that's so you.
That is so you. And I was like, ooh, the quality of the stream.
Miles above cable. What the heck?
It was... The lighting was impeccable. The sound was gorgeous. I could count the hairs on Hangman Page's chest.
People didn't look orange either.
No one looked orange. And I don't know if that is like AEW got new cameras or something, or if it's just Max is that good, like in terms of quality, whatever. But it was 4K. It was 400K. It was like I was like the entire time I was like, this looks and sounds gorgeous.
There weren't like the weird issues, like audio issues, nothing.
And maybe someone, you know, if you've watched on TBS or you watched wherever, maybe you had issues and maybe it is just a Max thing that it looks better. But I was like, wow, suddenly AEW is the best looking wrestling promotion.
So I watched it on both, by the way.
Yeah.
So this is what happened because this was New Year's Day. I started watching it live on Max. Then we had to go do some things because remember here it starts early because in the Pacific Northwest it starts early. It's like 5 or whatever p.m. 4, 5, I can't remember. So we had to go do something for dinner. Came back to watch the replay on Max. It was in Spanish. The replay was in Spanish with Spanish commentary. And I thought I was going insane because I was like, okay, it's obviously not live. Whatever. I like put a little, what's happening? I still have my cable subscription, obviously. And I still had it saved because I didn't know. Not a lot of people knew. So I watched it and it was like the crispness of it was lost on cable television.
Huh.
And the sound quality, like during a couple entrances, felt like it was like mono instead of stereo. So it felt off. So I was like, okay, this is weird. So then a couple hours later, we watched it and we went back to Max and the English version was on. So I don't know if that's like a thing that they're going to do of like, it's going to be a couple hours after it, but the way that they advertise it to us, right, is that it's available right after and on demand. So I don't know if they accidentally uploaded the I mean, it's kind of fun to listen to the Spanish commentary version of it, but
yeah, that's weird. I don't know, because it's also like a lot of people didn't know that you're going to get ads whether you pay for ad-free Max or not, because it's a live sporting event and that's just how it works out. But I was so happy about the Max stream. It was so good. I haven't gone back to like play around with the library that much because it's been a busy week. But that's how wrestling should be watched, in like the highest quality, good lighting, good sounds, because it makes the experience that much more immersive, I guess is the correct word. You just get so drawn into it. And it was a good Dynamite too. I had a blast. But anyway, back to Kenny Omega, because we need to finish chatting about him before we get into we were chatting about Kenny Omega for going on 40 minutes, by the way. But so Kenny wins the match. He's covered in blood. Gabe Kid is like helped to the back. It's a beautiful moment. Tanahashi's crying. I also was very emotional because I talked about this a little bit on Blue Sky. Kenny won and the Young Bucks won, which we'll talk about the Young Bucks match as well. There was a time, like not that long ago, where I thought we would never see them in the Tokyo Dome again because they left New Japan on such a sour note. And they talked publicly about this, about how, they tried to work with New Japan and New Japan didn't want to. They felt like a little bit betrayed. There was hurt feelings on both sides, blah, blah, blah. How amazing is it that they come back in Wrestle Dynasty and they both win, which the Young Bucks are now IWGP Tag Champions. The vacant tag titles in a great match. Short. I thought it was kind of short, but I thought it was really great. And now, like, the Elite are winning at the Tokyo Dome when they're, it wasn't that long ago. They all lost and went off to do AEW, and it was sad. It was just, I was just really emotional about it. But the tag title match was really good.
It was really good. I think it wasn't my favorite Young Bucks match. No, not even my favorite Young Bucks match, like in the Tokyo Dome. But it's definitely, those are my boys. Those are my boys.
I don't know if it was the weird synergy of the three teams, or if it was like, I don't know. It wasn't 5-star excellent, going to talk about it for the next 20 years good. But I think it was a good showing for the Young Bucks coming back. And I love that English commentary. I can't speak for Japanese commentary, obviously. But I love that English commentary kept saying, you can't do that. He's a millionaire. And just like really playing into the EVP gimmick stuff of like, they're powerful. They can do whatever they want. And like the New Japan roster has been questioning for months why the Young Bucks are here, why they get this title shot. But it's just because when you're this powerful in the industry, you get what you want. I loved it. And Matt Jackson came out. He had on the pearl necklaces. He had pearl earrings, and he had like a little pearl clip in his hair because his hair was up. Full pearl gimmick. Full set.
I loved it.
Princess Matthew Jackson. It's full princess mode. They had like really cute Japan gear. Like they had like, Japanese imagery on their gear, which I thought was cute. And they were coming down the entrance ramp and they're talking about, I bet you never thought you'd see us here again. They're coming down the entrance ramp. It's all good. There were some spots in this match where I thought the Young Bucks really shined. Ultimately, they got the win, of course. But I think like the big story coming out of it is afterwards. The camera goes to the Young Bucks and they're like, well, I guess you'll be seeing more of the Young Bucks in New Japan. And I'm excited about that. I'm not going to lie, team. I'm not going to lie. I think the Young Bucks in New Japan are like a completely different breed than they are in AEW. I'm excited, chat. I'm not going to lie.
I don't know because remember last year, the Young Bucks had like their little tantrum, right? When they lost. Was it last year or 2 years ago? Oh no. But they lost and they had that tantrum. They had a tantrum where they were throwing around the chairs.
I was trying to think of which tantrum.
Yeah. And then they took like a long break, right? Yeah. I can't remember which show it is at, and I recently rewatched it. I think it was Full Gear 2023, but I don't remember. I just remember that they were having that tantrum, and I don't feel like that they've had that essence back. They had that tantrum, they went away, whatever. But we know 2018 Young Bucks before all of this, right?
Yeah.
We know 2019 when all of this was happening. And the fact that there is a faction called the Death Riders saying this company, we built this company, like this is our company, y'all ruined this company. I'm just waiting for the Elite to come back with Coda, with Hangman alongside of like, we were gone for like 2 seconds and you're saying that we ruined this company, we built this company, and then they all have a little stadium stampede, so to speak, and our guys come up on top. Stampede. I know, same.
And listen, AW has a few stadium shows coming up. Just saying, they have the Australia show and All In and Forbidden Door.
It was Full Gear 2023 because they went against Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega.
Can I just say, I am listen, when Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho were a tag team, I was the biggest hater everywhere. Every show
the stupidest name, the Golden Jets.
So bad. And listen, I accepted them being on a tag team for the Winnipeg show because they're Winnipeg boys. It was cute. It didn't need to become a thing. And I am so mad. Like now that Kenny Omega, and I could be mad about it now that Kenny Omega has healed from the diverticulitis and survived.
Right.
They wasted so much of his time.
Right. And then he was gone.
A travesty. Unforgivable.
Okay, but like, do you remember in New Japan, Jericho was called the Alpha? Why were they not called Alpha and Omega?
Good question. Tony Khan, pick up the phone. Pick up the phone.
My phone number, you don't have, but you could. You could.
He probably has access.
I don't put it past a billionaire. Let's be honest.
No. But Kenny Omega's back now, and Chris Jericho, hopefully, fingers crossed, stays away. Because if they go back into Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho, I'm going to rip my hair out. I'm going to show up on Wrestling Made Me Cry and be bald. Bald. I cannot do it. I can't. We Omega Danielson too. Never gonna happen, probably. Never gonna happen, probably, because we wasted it on the freaking Golden Jets.
Yo, he seems like he's having a great bit of retirement, by the way.
I have so many thoughts, and I don't want to say them. Athena is Ring of Honor.
Yes.
That's all that needs to be said. Athena also tore the house down in the Tokyo Dome. So
she belongs in the spotlight. Like, let's be clear about this. Athena belongs in the spotlight. She belongs at that level. I don't know why she's not on AW television when other Ring of Honor champions are on AW television.
I don't know. Because, okay, so if it was like an International Women's Cup, it was International Women's Cup, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was the finals of that, which we've been building across like CMLL and Ring of Honor, AW, and Stardom for like a long time. It was Athena, it was Persephone, it was Willow Nightingale, and it was Momo Watanabe.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a 4-way. And Athena was so stinking good. Jaw-droppingly good.
Every point of that match, each wrestler was featured. They put, it's called like getting your shit in, right? Like you get your shit in and you go. I felt like Athena it was like for every one of the other three, Athena had more.
Yeah.
Because that's how good she is. She's so good.
She had the most aura of the four. And this is like the 4 of the best women's wrestlers in the world. Do not get me wrong. They all showed out. This match was like 10 to 15 minutes or so, and they showed out. It was disgustingly good. And it's on the pre-show, too.
I know. Why did they have it on the pre-show?
I don't know. This match, and I'm going to say something controversial, chat, and I need you to just roll with it. This match was better than a lot of Wrestle Kingdom. I'm going to be honest. Wrestle Kingdom was... There were a few bangers.
Yeah.
The rest was... fill in the blank. But this was excellent. The House of Torture, Sons of Texas thing, we don't even need to talk about her.
We don't need to talk about them at all. Sorry, bye.
This 4-way, like if you only have time to watch a few things from Wrestle Dynasty and Wrestle Kingdom, this has to be one of them.
Yeah.
It was so good. And so Athena was excellent. I'm hoping that means that like Tony Khan will wake up. Ring, ring, Tony Khan. It's AW viewers calling from the grave. Ring, ring. Put her on TV.
Why are we in the grave?
The fan base is dying, Colin. The fan base is dying.
Kylie, I am deceased. I am your first victim.
I was first victim of Tony Khan's booking of the women's division. I've been dead for 5 years. Ring, ring, Tony Khan.
Ring, ring.
I put her on.
That's so funny.
Simeon says, I need Athena versus Momo tomorrow. New Year's freaking Dash. That is a match that is made for New Year's Dash. I'm going to be honest. But yeah, this 4-way, one of the things you need to watch. I would also say Mercedes Monee, Mina Shirakawa. That should be on your list as well. We'll talk about it in a second. I think don't even forget Zack Sabre Jr. was on Wrestle Kingdom. Only the Wrestle Dynasty match. Zack Sabre Jr. Ricochet. That's all you need. And then obviously the Omega match, Gabe Kid. And then obviously, you can even skip the Young Bucks match if you wanted. But anyway, Mercedes Monee, Mina Shirakawa.
Oh my God. Really cried. Really sobbed.
Gold. An absolute gold mine of women's wrestling.
Here's my thing with Athena. Mercedes. Wow. Still got Athena on my brain. The thing with Mercedes is that I think people limit her capabilities because of that trash Brit match.
Yeah.
And I think that we're realizing that match was trash, not because of Mercedes. Yeah. And I say that as someone, I clearly love Britt Baker. Like, I love Britt Baker. Before she left, was one of the absolute pillars and forces of AEW. I feel the need for her has gone. So she either needs to figure out, does she want to get better and be at that level, or something else? But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about Mercedes and the way that she works with Japanese wrestlers who are smaller than her.
Yeah.
It is evident that is where she's been training.
She was stellar. In this match. I think since, like, obviously all of the Chris Statlander stuff, I think after the Brit match, there was like a reset in the Mercedes booking. And I think she's been stellar since then. But I also think Mina Shirakawa is such a great opponent in the sense that Mina's going to get her stuff in, but she also knows how to make her opponent's stuff look that much better. And I think that's what really happened here. Mercedes obviously won. Now she's Mercedes 3 belts. Yeah, New Japan Strong.
3 or 4?
TBS, New Japan Strong, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rev Pro. Oh, but the Rev Pro belt is 2 belts, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Is it Southside? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that it's
correct.
4. Yes. This match was also kind of short, which confused me a little bit because I thought that these two could have a singles banger classic 30-minute extravaganza. How many attitudes can I put in there? But no, Mercedes looked really, really strong. And I'm excited to see what they do with her this year in AW side. Because, like, obviously she's going to wrestle in New Japan again. She's the strong champion. But I don't know if you do Chris Statlander again with Mercedes. Or, I mean, Ty Mello came back and had a banger.
Oh, my gosh.
At Stardom. Go out of your way to watch that. Ty Mello, wrestling genius. Coming back.
Has not missed a step.
Hasn't missed a step. And I think she's even better than she was. Yeah. Which is saying something because she was excellent. Coming back.
That knee kick, though. The knee kick that she has now is like.
Yeah. She had a baby. And she's been like open about like struggling to get back into training, back into shape, like feeling confident in herself after having the baby, which having a baby is a big thing. So understandable.
Yeah.
She wrestles Athena. Both of them show out. It's great. It's excellent. Chef's kiss. Go out of your way to see it. Maybe we do Ty Mello and Mercedes. I'm into it. I'm into it. It would be gold. I think like with Mercedes now, we just need to start cranking them out. Like match after match after match after match. Because when you're a belt collector, like we saw this with Kenny Omega, when you're a belt collector, you need to be wrestling all the freaking time. Because fans want that. Like, I want to see you defend the TBS title. And then that weekend, I want to see you on this New Japan Strong show defend that title. I want to see you wrestle in your call or, you know, any Rev Pro show, but the big ones, probably. And I want to see you wrestle everybody and their mother. All of them.
And their mother.
I think Mercedes can do it. And I think, like, this was a moment, this Mina Shirakawa match, where I think fans are on board. She's obviously always going to have haters because people are always going to hate Mercedes. It's just how it is. But I think a lot of people who were kind of on the fence after the Brit match, I think they're on board now. I think she has enough proof of concept to show that this is this is going to work.
I think that it is hard we're even seeing that with Adam Copeland being the rated R superstar Cope, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that wrestling fans have a difficult time with change because they don't understand change. And Mercedes is a completely different wrestler than Sasha Banks. But it's been enough time that Mercedes can stand on her own, knowing that, like, yeah, Sasha Banks, the character, everything of that, like, built her who she is today, but it's not the same type of wrestler. She didn't even do the same type of moves.
No, and it's because she, in between, like, leaving WWE, she trained a lot of lucha. She trained a lot of Japanese style. She reinvented herself. When she did an excellent, good, like, superb job. She has redefined herself as a character and also in the ring. I think she's stellar. I think Mercedes is on another level right now. And if we're building Mercedes versus Athena, I will be seated. Wherever it is, I will be there. I need to see it. But this match, like, Mercedes coming to Japan. Because, like, I don't know if y'all remember, but when she debuted in Japan,
two Wrestle Kingdoms
ago.
I mean, it was Wrestle Kingdom 2023 because she came out after the women's IWG. Yeah.
A lot of people, because she gave a little promo, a lot of people were like, "Oh, she's never going to be rid of the WWE, stench. She's always going to be WWE. She's never going to be at New Japan caliber, at AW caliber." Which is
after the Kyrie and Tom Nakano match.
Which is like, it's like BS criteria to begin with. Like, she's never going to be AEW or New Japan, whatever. Yeah. But I think, like, going back to Japan and having this match, I think she's, like, redeemed herself a little bit. And I was into it. It really was. And I don't know what the future holds for her with the 3 belts. Because, like, when you have that many titles, you can't really hold them that long. Like, I mean, you could, but it's like you have to be so many places all the time because
we can't all be Kenny Omega.
Look at him. I just have this picture of Kenny. I'm gonna bring this to my work office.
I was about to say it's very like inspirational.
Yeah, every time I feel like, man, I can't do this anymore. You know who could do it? Kenny. I have a literal Kenny Omega tattoo as well.
I need one.
I'm not ashamed. I
need one.
Get one.
Okay.
Just saying.
My plan for 2025 is to get more tattoos.
Yeah, I haven't gotten a tattoo since March of last year when me and the squad got the Sting tattoos. Which healed really nicely. I don't know if you guys can.
I love it.
Nicely. Yeah. Shout out. I'll remember the name of the shop. So, I'm thinking about there's a tattoo shop in Chicago that's like my favorite tattoo shop like ever. Yeah. But anyway, the rest of Wrestle Dynasty. Shota Umino beat Claudio. Why? Shota had such a bad showing at Wrestle Kingdom. Can we talk about that?
We can.
Huh?
I said we can.
I don't even want to. It was just so bad. I feel like playing Zack Sabre Jr.
Okay, so I want to also touch on the fact of right after the Mercedes match, because the Mercedes match followed the exhibition Shibata match, right?
Yeah.
That went to a time limit draw because, of course, it was going to because it was only 5 minutes. Right after that was David Finlay versus Brody, which that was
good.
It was so good to see. Yeah. Which, like, the fact that Dave Finlay kind of ruined Bullet Club, but granted, everybody left. Bullet Club, sorry. Is that controversial?
Bullet Club.
Yeah, I mean, is that controversial to say?
I'm just so sad about both.
I know. I mean, Jay White left and everyone left, and Tama Tonga and not everybody left. Everybody left. So, anyways, but that match was really great. I think anything with Brody King is great. If you want to go watch a big beefy Brody King,
it was made for Japan, by the way.
Yeah, I don't understand why he hasn't had more wrestles in Japan. But that right after that match was the Shota versus Claudio match, which I thought Claudio out wrestled him, outperformed him. The crowd was more behind Claudio. Everything about Claudio, his presence, the way that he came, and this is nothing against Shota, because Shota is he is Jon Moxley's boy, right? He's his boy. However, I think that there's something missing. There's a couple crowns not in the bunch, right? What is that? Left in the box? A couple crayons missing from the box or whatever.
Never
missing from a set. I don't
roll with it.
Yeah, there's the lights on, but nobody's
home. Yeah.
So I don't understand where the disconnect is. It might also be because he might be neurodivergent, which, a lot of people could say that about me. But there's like a likable quality about him that isn't transferred to the ring. I don't like what he presents to the ring.
Yeah.
I like what Claudio does. And Claudio did his darnest to make it palatable, I would say.
This match went way too long.
It's the same length as the Mercedes match.
Yeah, way too long. Listen, Shota, I loved the shooter thing when he was Jon Moxley's like personal little young lion.
Little
was
guy.
Cute.
Yeah.
Shota Umino, we need to have an honest conversation because he has failed every expectation set for him. He has. He's not like good in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
For you to have back-to-back bad matches with people like ZSJ and Claudio.
Yeah.
It's on you, babe. It's on you. That is on you. And listen, I'm sorry. I love the shooter stuff. I thought it was so cute. Jon Moxley going to Japan, his personal little young lion, the whole family thing.
Mm-hmm.
He was set up to have a stellar career. Jon Moxley held his hand, and Shota could have capitalized on that and been the David Finlay and been, the Gabe Kid and the big stars. Squandered it. The shooter character would have been enough for him to be a star. He just is not good in the ring. And I don't know if it's because he doesn't know who he is in the ring yet.
Yeah.
Or if he doesn't know what style he wants to do, but he feels
that would make sense though.
He's so robotic.
Just doesn't know who he is.
Yeah, and he's so robotic where I feel like every time I watch him, I'm watching someone who is practicing reps in the ring. Like, you're going to do 50 drop toe holds because you're training to be a wrestler and you need to learn how to do it. He's so robotic and formulaic. There's no pizzazz to him. And so when you're in the ring with someone like Claudio, who has his style down pat, who knows how to work the crowd, who knows how to do all of that extra stuff that turns an wrestler into a star, you have to rise to the occasion. You have to rise to the occasion, and he didn't. And he didn't with ZSJ either, which, listen, everybody's entitled to a bad match.
Right. Not that big of a stage.
Yeah, and nobody's going to be perfect all the time, and I don't want it to sound like I'm saying, oh, Shota is ruined forever. He's never going to have a career. But I think, this has to be a wake-up call for him and for New Japan that, if you're going to continue to have the Shota and Moxley association, you can't depend on that to get people to like Shota anymore, right? He needs something. He needs a direction, and he needs to define himself as a wrestler, and he needs to excel at something. He can't just ride the tide anymore. Because ZSJ then went and had an excellent match on Wrestle Dynasty, so it's not him.
Yeah.
And we know it's not Claudio. So I don't think, like, technically, fundamentally, Shota is a bad wrestler. I just don't know why he's not.
He has all the tools to be great, but it's like you said, he's not firing on all cylinders. There's a crayon missing from the box. Like, something is missing here. The lights are on and nobody's home. You can't wrestle like that and be a main eventer. Come on.
Yeah. And it's tough because it's like, to be on this Wrestle Dynasty card with banger matches and a match of the year candidate, it's tough to, like, stand out in that, on, like, even if this was a good match, right? Like, it's tough.
Yeah.
But it's like, people have been doubting Shota for, like, when he first started wrestling, people were like, okay, he's young, he, is just recently out of training, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's no excuses anymore. There isn't. And Zack Sabre Jr. and Ricochet was like chef's kiss, like gold tier wrestling. And so it's like, I don't know where you go with Shota, because he beat Claudio, which, okay, it wasn't okay, whatever. I don't feel like that should have happened, but whatever. Okay, where do you go from there? Because, like, presumably Shota and Mox and the squad, they're gonna be together for Forbidden Door doing something, presumably. Sure. Because it's like, is he a Death Rider? Sure, maybe. I don't know. But, like, I don't care.
Wow, you don't care.
Like, I have so much nostalgia for the Shooter era, like the gimmick. And I am a little bit disappointed. I'm going to be honest. I'm a little disappointed. Because this match was not good. Claudio was good. But it's Claudio. And if Claudio can't get a good match out of you, that's how you know you're a problem. That's how you know that you're the problem. Takeshita and Ishii was really good.
Okay. I love Takeshita. Get him away from Don Callis. Get him away.
For real.
Get him away. I don't need Don Callis.
No. Especially not in Japan.
I'm right. He doesn't need you. You cue ball looking.
Speak on it. Speak on it. We're dishing truth.
You reject from the Pitbull lookalike contest.
Oh my God.
Mr. Worldwide?
He wishes he was as popular as Pitbull. I despise Don Callis. So any Don Callis is always welcome.
He doesn't wear socks. That's everything I need to know about Don Callis.
No, and
he has to have stinky feet. Stinky feet.
And you
stinky
just know,
cheese feet.
You just know that they're dry and cracked as hell. You just know. You can look at them and you just know.
Yeah, you just know.
But okay, so it's Takeshita with Don Callis versus Ishii it was the Never Openweight title and then the AW international title.
International title, yeah.
Takeshita wins. The match was great, of course it is. It's Takeshita, who looked like a star, was received like a star. Mm-hmm. Just like, I fully expect to see Takeshita be like take that Moxley role of like the Forbidden Door wrestler. Because AEW fans love him, New Japan fans love him, Japanese fans in general loved him because he has done stuff with other promotions. Yeah. He just so freaking good. Just like,
I don't know why, because I don't know how. Oh, also he also defeated Kenny Omega twice in the same week. So
I love Takeshita. I don't know like what their creative plans are for Takeshita and AEW, but I feel like we need to ditch the Don Callis stuff sooner than later, and like really, really ride the tide with Takeshita. And I don't know like what the answer to that is, Because like Takeshita versus Ospreay, I think would be a good way to have them both occupied while we work out this Kenny Omega stuff. Like whether they're going to do Kenny Omega versus Moxley or whether they're going to stick with Darby. Because like I think that's a legitimate question they should be asking. Yeah. You know? Because it's not to like keep harping on it, but I think like AEW needs to say what gives us our strongest shot in this new era, and I think it's Kenny Omega. But Takeshita is like, I feel like he's constantly received by fans as an elite level star, like S tier, best of the best, and I feel like he's constantly undervalued by AEW.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of that is because of Don Callis. Like, I think that he ruins the act. I'm going to be honest. I think he does. Don Callis, I think, is better with Kyle Fletcher than Takeshita.
I agree.
Like, there's really nothing apart from, you know, Takeshita beating Kenny Omega and Don Callis turning on Kenny Omega, that thing. I think there's really nothing that ties Takeshita to Don Callis anymore. Like, Takeshita, the Kenny Omega thing I get, you know, and that I think did elevate Takeshita. But, like, what is Don Callis getting him these days?
Nothing. Opportunities? No.
I don't know. And I don't think Don Callis adds that much anymore. Like the Kenny Omega thing, even then when he was with Kenny Omega and he was like, I'm Kenny's uncle and his trainer and we're family for life, whatever. Yeah. I don't think he added that much there either. I'm going to be honest. I don't think he did.
I don't think so either.
He did help elevate Takeshita in the Kenny Omega story. I will give him that. But like, I don't know, but this showing by Takeshita versus Ishii, add it to your list of things to go out of your way to see because it was good. It was really freaking good. Yeah. Jewel says, did you watch the Kenny backstage comments? I did.
I didn't. Not yet.
You should, because Kenny, he's covered in dry blood. And he, like, just watch them. Oh, did we lose Collins? Or did we lose me?
Is that me?
Is it me? Is it me?
It's me.
Okay. It's not me.
It's me.
Okay. Kenny Omega backstage comments. Just go watch him. He's a star. I love him to death. Kenny Omega, marry me. Amen.
You want to marry him?
Oh, I would. I would, just because, like, being able to say, yeah, Kenny Omega is my husband is the biggest flex in, like, all of the world.
Wow.
I think it is. I love Kenny Omega. I adore him. I'm really congested from my allergies, if you couldn't tell.
I feel that. I'm also...
We got a cold front in Florida, which apparently we're going to have, like, a very cold January because, like, polar vortex or whatever. But I like the cold, so it's okay.
I do have to say, by the way, it's going around like RSV, like flu,
the like stomach
vid, flu, all the things, the stomach vid, the norovirus, everything. And I'm out here going, my sinus pressure, I'm dying. That's it. Bitch.
Yeah, and I normally get allergies in like December, January, like the winter season change, because the air in Florida gets drier, and it just a lot of people just have issues. That's just how it goes. Because our air is like 90% water for 3/4 of the year. But yeah, we're okay. We're trucking through. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Ricochet. What they really set them up here because so Zack Sabre Jr. and Ricochet, it's for the IWGP World Title. It follows Kenny Omega and Gabe Kid. What are your thoughts about that? Do you think? Listen, I understand the mentality.
I understand it.
Yeah, of having a World Title main event. It's the prestige. I get it. What do you think about? Do you think Kenny should have main evented?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that them giving them 31 minutes was like, and the main event was only like 20 something minutes. But here's the thing. Zack Sabre Jr. the night before went 45 minutes. Yeah. That's a long time.
Yeah.
So like,
even
having
by
him
standards.
Right. I can only think of like one other match that has gone that long, and it was Omega Okada. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I'm thinking about. But I feel like it's like everyone has been anticipating Kenny Omega's return to the ring, both in the United States, in Japan, everywhere. And now what?
And
because Zack Sabre Jr. is not Kenny Omega level yet.
And I think that's like the key. Yet. I feel like Zack Sabre Jr. had something to prove because the Wrestle Kingdom match was so bad. And so I could feel his in this match with Ricochet. I could feel like
frustration.
The desperation, the frustration, the hunger, all of that. It was a good match. Do not get me wrong. It was an excellent match. I would give it like probably 4 3/4 stars, if not 5. It was a great match. And Ricochet looked excellent. Ricochet came across as like just like he was before WWE. Like old school Ricochet versus Will Ospreay, tearing the house down. Ultimately, Zack Sabre Jr. did win by submission. It went like 20 some odd minutes. It was good. And on any other show, it would have been match of the night.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny Omega versus Gabe Kid was next level. And it's tough because like you can't put Kenny Omega versus Gabe Kid main event on the off chance that something happens and Kenny is rusty and they don't deliver.
Yeah.
You can't take that risk. But also, Kenny Omega and Gabe Kid did deliver, and they were both stellar. And so now you send out Zack Sabre Jr. coming off of a bad match the night before. And Ricochet, who has also kind of been in like a weird in-between zone where he's not quite there, but he's finding himself after WWE. They delivered. Like, I don't want it to sound like I'm saying Zack Sabre Jr. wrestled 2 bad matches in a row, because this was not a bad match.
It's not a bad match, but
it's tough because it's like it's not match of the night. Yeah,
wrestler.
And like it's not a bad match. But it's not match of the night, and it's your world champion. And coming out of Wrestle Dynasty, the biggest stars of the show are AEW talent. And I don't know what to think of that. Because obviously Gabe Kid is immensely elevated by the Kenny Omega thing.
Sure. For sure.
And Zack Sabre Jr., like, I don't want it to sound like I'm saying he's bottom of the barrel sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, you go to social media trends, you go to what people are talking about in the post shows.
Yeah.
And it's like, I understand that Japanese fans often, they like things that Western fans don't like, and Western fans like things that Japanese fans don't like. And so it's like, it's tough for New Japan to balance both of those things. But the Kenny and Gabe match, that was a moment where I think Japanese and Western fans were on the same page. Where like Gabe Kid is the dude. Kenny Omega will always be the GOAT. He is that guy. And then you send out Zack Sabre Jr. and Ricochet. It's tough. It's such a tough place to be as a booker. Because like I said, like, what if you put Kenny and Gabe in the main event and they don't deliver because Kenny's rusty or Gabe is, out wrestled mentally. Like Gabe doesn't rise to the occasion. Like there's so many variables there. So I understand putting them in the semi. But you can give Zack Sabre Jr. and Ricochet more time in the main event, and they will at least be on that level. But this felt like an obligatory world title match in the main event because it has to be their type of situation, which sucks because it was so good.
Yeah.
It's tough.
I don't want this to be like a stain for Zack Sabre Jr. because I think that he just got the title. Like his quest for the title, him winning the tournament, him getting the title off of Sonata, right? Sonata had it, or did did Naito have it? Oh no. Now I'm going to. There was a murky time in New Japan history in the last 2 years that me, who I'm normally like, it's this wrestler followed by this one, that I've not been watching like I used to. However, those were some bad matches, some bad champions.
Yeah.
And they tried to rebuild after the Elite left, right?
Yeah. And they had a moment where, like, so the Elite leave and New Japan has Ibushi and Ospreay and Jay White and Naito.
Mm-hmm.
And they had some good stuff there. Like, they had a lot. It's just, then they lost Ospreay. And they lost Jay White. And they lost Okada.
Okay, he did win it from Naito.
Yeah, he won it from Naito.
Sorry.
And so they had another massive talent drain. But the issue was, they have Zack Sabre Jr., and he is like the heir apparent to the legacy. And they didn't do enough to make him feel as important on this show, on Wrestle Dynasty, as they did for Kenny Omega. And that's on New Japan. Like,
it's like a lose-lose situation. How do you make Kenny Omega returning not feel like the Super Bowl?
I think that, like, and it is the Super Bowl, but I also think that, like, giving Kenny Omega 30 minutes, which he should have gotten, letting him do whatever he wanted. This match had, like, no rules. Letting him go hog wild, whatever you want, make your masterpiece, do your art. And then you send out your world champion against Ricochet, who is not an unknown, but he is, like, not. It would have been different if it was Takeshita, for example.
Imagine though, like, this was Ricochet, like, coming, like, first time out of, WWE. Like, this was his first, like, he didn't return at All In.
Yeah.
Or debut at All In. He didn't go through the Continental Classic. Like, it had been hush hush for this long, and then all of a sudden it would have felt different.
It would have felt different. But, like, I think the thing for me is that you put Kenny Omega on your show with no restrictions. He's going to be the best thing on the show, obviously. But you can give your world champion, Zack Sabre Jr., more time, more space to breathe. And they didn't do that. And I'm not saying that Zack Sabre Jr. had a bad match, because I loved this match with Ricochet. I think it's really freaking good. I think Ricochet also showed up and he delivered, and he was really freaking good. But an unchained Kenny Omega is hard to beat. And so, like, he's your world champion, right? And you can give him a little bit more than what I think New Japan did. Especially because it's Wrestle Kingdom was such a controversial show. You could have did a little bit more for good old ZSJ on Wrestle Dynasty. I'm going to be real. And he did get the win. And it was a good match. It was an impressive win. Ricochet was good. Zack Sabre Jr. countered his high flying perfectly. It was good. 20 minutes?
Yeah.
20 minutes. I don't know. Maybe that's just me being, like, a little bitter about New Japan, because I've questioned a lot that New Japan has done in the last 2 years.
I have as well, but I think that they turned a corner for me. So I'm hopeful for the future.
I'm hopeful for the future of New Japan, because I think these shows made something abundantly clear, and that's where New Japan's weaknesses are. And I know, I know that they're going to be able to elevate a tag team when someone eventually beats the Young Bucks, right? I know it's going to happen, and it's going to be great. I know that someone beating Takeshita is going to be great. I don't know what Kenny Omega's plans are.
I don't know either.
I imagine we're going to get another Gabe Kid match somewhere down the line. That's going to be good for Gabe Kid. It's going to be good. give Zack Sabre Jr. Give him a bone. Give him something. So like, they have had
such a failure like that. Like,
yeah, and it's I don't want to say set him up for failure. Like to me implies he failed, and like I don't think he failed.
Yeah,
but
I don't think he failed.
Give
right?
him the stage a world champion should be given. Like you put him right after Kenny Omega. Put the 5-minute exhibition with Tanahashi and Shibata between them. Let it breathe a little bit, and then don't give him 20 minutes in the main event. It's New Japan. Give him 30 to 40. And let him show out as your world champion.
But that's also the thing of like, I don't think that Zack Sabre Jr. is a 30 to 40 minute wrestler.
I think he can be.
I
think Zack Sabre Jr., like in the eyes of New Japan, I think they see him as a guy who goes out and he does some cool submissions and grapples and technical wrestling, and he goes home. I think that Zack Sabre Jr. is Bryan Danielson level sicko who can do these 30 to 40 minute matches, but he just never gets them. Even as world champion. And like, I think Ricochet was an interesting choice of opponent here. I could see why you would want Ricochet because he has the legacy in Japan. He has the legacy with Will Ospreay and the Elite. I get it. Interesting choice, though. I'm going to be honest. Interesting choice. Don't know if I would have put Ricochet in the main event of Wrestle Dynasty.
Sure.
Just being straight up honest, it's not a diss on Ricochet.
Right.
He's your world champion, Zack Sabre Jr. And after a line of god-awful world title reigns.
Naito, Sonata.
What are we doing? Jack Perry also not good.
Jacqueline Perry. Miss Jacqueline.
But I just feel like New Japan, and I don't know if it was because of Ricochet that this match was so short. Like they just wanted like a showing for Ricochet. I don't know, but it just sucks because like the return of Kenny Omega from the brink to death, you're never going to beat that. So maybe they just wanted it to be over as fast as possible. And like, I don't know. I just felt bad for Zack Sabre Jr. I did.
I'm going to go rewatch it, by the way, today. So
the whole show or just the ZSJ match?
Whole show. I got to watch it with my husband.
Oh, he hasn't seen it yet?
No.
Oh my God.
I was doing laundry, by the way. My laundry basket is
I have to do
supporting
laundry
character. No, I was watching it while I was doing laundry on my phone.
It's Wrestle Dynasty, and like here's a part where like we're 30 minutes in. I can get a little controversial, right?
Oh, now
Wrestle
we can get
Dynasty,
controversial.
I am back in just my hater era. Like I'm sorry.
Wrestling made me hate.
No, but like the end of 2024, I was like, I'm just not going to do that anymore because I've been like, for so long, I was a hater and people called me a hater and it was like a funny haha joke. And so today, like I tweeted some things for the first time in a long time about wrestling. And Blue Sky posted some things and people were mad at me. And I was like, yeah, I'm done being the nice guy. If you want to be mad at me, you can be mad at me. I don't care. Here's what I'm saying. Wrestle Dynasty was better than Wrestle Kingdom. And it comes down to the fact that AEW has a better roster of in-ring talent. I think that AEW, like this roster they have, the depth, the caliber, the level, miles better than New Japan. And I don't know what the solution is for New Japan. Because like they have good wrestlers and they have stars. Like New Japan has a good roster. But they do all these shows with AEW and it's like, wow. The difference. And I love New Japan and I don't want it to sound like I'm being like, haha, New Japan sucks. But like it's tough because AEW cranks out main event stars like this. One after the other, after the other, after the other. And New Japan doesn't have that. They have legends that they can pull out and they're, the Naitos of the world the Shibata Tanahashi match, which we didn't need, but whatever. And they have some young stars, and they have Western stars, and they have the building blocks. But AEW is just in-ring wise on just such a different level. They're just like a level that wrestling promotions constantly try to chase.
Yeah.
Like you want this. Like this is
one. Yeah.
Like a promotion only really reaches this level, like this caliber of talent, once in its existence. And it's like Wrestle Kingdom was a good show. It was a good show. Wrestle Dynasty was an elite show. Wrestle Dynasty was so stupid good. And yeah, it's because, you know, the magic of Kenny Omega. And yeah, it's because Mercedes was good. And yeah, it's because Zack Sabre Jr. is a good world champion. But I also think it comes down to the fact that they were able to do a lot of really freaking good matchups because AEW was there.
Controversial.
And Wrestle Kingdom, I'm trying like not to be so boo about it, but it didn't feel Wrestle Kingdom-y to me. And maybe that's just me. Maybe like I'm just being annoying for no reason. But David Finlay stole the show.
It really did.
Takeshita was also on Wrestle Kingdom, and he was obviously great. It was Takeshita versus Takagi. Who did David Finlay wrestle?
On Wrestle
He was on Wrestle Kingdom, wasn't he? Am I blurring the lines?
Hold on.
Or am I saying, David Finlay was on Wrestle Dynasty?
He was on Wrestle Dynasty.
The cards are so mixed up in my head because so many people wrestled twice.
Which, like, crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he faced Yota Tsuji.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, Yota. Finlay was good.
The global champ, which I feel like I liked that match more than Jack Perry. But.
Oh, yeah, the Jack Perry match was poo-poo. Compared to everything else on that show, like, on its own, it's fine. It's whatever. Yeah. But compared to the rest of the show, Naito versus Takahashi, I really enjoyed on Wrestle Kingdom. I think Naito's in a space now where
he's already gotten the champion. Like he won a G1. He won the heavyweight championship. Like that's what he came to New Japan to do. Now that he's achieved that, he can kind of sit at that status.
He's someone who like can pull out a reliable good match.
Yeah.
Against anybody. Like he's just there. He's just there to be a building block. And I think that this Takahashi match was good. Yeah. I enjoyed it. We're not going to talk about Zack Sabre Jr. and Shota Umino because I already gave my thoughts on that, and I don't want to rage.
I mean, you can rage. That's fine.
I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know what New Japan was thinking with that. Zack Sabre Jr. is a world champion, and this is what they do to him. The biggest weekend of the year. The weekend of the year that draws the biggest Western audience.
Yeah.
The biggest international audience, not just the West. International. And this is how they do him.
Listen. It can't always be It can't always be Wrestle Kingdom 11 or 12 or 13. You know? The height of Wrestle Kingdom. For me, sometimes you get a Wrestle Kingdom 19. It
did feel like, though, that Wrestle Kingdom, like the back-to-back Wrestle Kingdom, Wrestle Dynasty thing, it does feel like they saved a lot of the really, really good stuff for Wrestle Dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know why.
I do think that people were tired. Because it wasn't even like a full 24 hours between shows. Yeah. So.
And we have New Year's Dash. which
tonight
shenanigans are going to happen. I don't know what shenanigans that always happen on New Year's Dash, but Wrestle Kingdom, like Evil was there. I just like Evil and Tanahashi for some reason. It did feel like they sacrificed a lot of stuff from Wrestle Kingdom for Wrestle Dynasty, because like you have,
but what was the? Are they gonna do it 2 nights again? Like, no.
I feel like you could have put the tag title match on Wrestle Kingdom,
and
then given more time to like the Mercedes match or the Zack Sabre Jr. match on Wrestle Dynasty. I feel like you also probably could have put the Jack Perry match on Wrestle Kingdom. And maybe you just flip-flop them.
Maybe.
David Finlay, though, was an MVP workhorse of both shows. Like, 2 good matches, like hard carry type matches. Yeah. I don't know. It just feels like these cards were put together a little strangely. Like, I don't know why you couldn't have put more of the AW stuff on Wrestle Kingdom and more of the New Japan stuff on Wrestle Dynasty, when a lot of people are only going to watch Wrestle Dynasty from the international audience, obviously, not from the Japanese audience. I don't know. A lot of weird decisions being made. But Zack Sabre Jr. And I haven't even tweeted about this yet. Because I'm like...
There's always next year.
There's always next year, world champ. Always next year. I haven't tweeted about it because I know that people are going to come for me. I know what New Japan is capable of is the problem.
Yeah.
And I think Wrestle Kingdom fell short of Wrestle Dynasty, which one was always going to be better than the other. That's just how these 2-night things work. But be so for real. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Shota Umino. Be so for real. But anyway, Kenny Omega returned. He's going to be on Dynamite. Zack Sabre Jr. looks really happy to win. To beat Ricochet.
Yeah. I'm happy. Yay.
Justice for ZSJ. That's all I'm saying. Justice for ZSJ.
He's going to have a banger of a match at Battle Valley or something. Like, it's going to be like match of the year. Everyone's going to be like, oh, that makes up for everything that happened. Just you wait.
I have no doubt that he's going to have 50 bangers this year.
Sure.
But none of them are going to be on this big of the stage. I think it's like
that's what I said. Next year. There's always next year.
Is he going to be world champion next year?
Who knows? You got to
probably give it to Gabe Kid. I wouldn't be surprised if Dominion we crown Gabe Kid.
Oh my God. That would be a banger.
It would.
You know what I'm excited for? I'm excited for non-wrestling shows right now. That's what I'm excited about. Like Traders is coming back. You ever watch Traders? Nikki Bella's going to be on it. Nikki Garcia.
We need the Bellas in AW.
That's controversial.
You know what? It's controversial and I do not care. I love the Bellas. Wow. I have so much respect for them.
Same.
I think that they should, and I think that
I think that Nikki's run before she retired was probably her best work.
I think so too. But I think that's also when she really started to train hard.
Yeah.
What shows are coming out that I'm excited about?
Ryan.
That would be unironically a banger, though. Like, their styles suit each other so well.
Could you imagine her just doing the O face to like Ishii, Naito?
Athena, you need to politic your way onto the New Japan roster, and you need to start cranking out all-timers. Athena is just so underrated and so freaking good. And we didn't even talk about Collision or Dynamite, which make sure you all, if you're able to, donate to Asheville for the recovery efforts.
The fact that people are mad about their speech afterwards, give me a break. Give me an actual break.
I didn't read any of the things, but Sean had posted like a video of it and then had quote tweeted and said, you're so weird if you're mad about this.
Yeah, you're so weird.
I didn't read any of people's
leave.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
I didn't read any of people's like comments on it, but I think it's absurd. Yeah, I don't think people just don't realize, and I guess as a Floridian, like it means something more to me. People don't realize how difficult it is. It's so difficult to get help after a hurricane.
Right. Because
like,
there's
FEMA
so
is not,
many afterwards.
Yeah, and FEMA is not handing out money like people seem to think that they are. You have to fight for it.
No.
You have to battle FEMA for money.
So
for anything. Like there are people in Florida right now, and they live near me.
Yeah.
Who have had blue tarps as their sole roof since Hurricane Milton. Because they're not approved for FEMA funding. Like, it's absurd. That, like, and I feel like people just don't get it. And so, like, like, people are saying the hurricane was so long ago. Why are we doing it now? Blah, blah, blah. There are people who have been unhoused in Asheville for months because of the hurricane.
I think people see one video, one propaganda video, and they don't know how to decipher, is this real or is this not? Because I think the majority of people do not use their, wherever the is it the frontal cortex where it's the deciphering between reality and not deciding between is this something good or is this something bad? That frontal cortex doesn't develop until you're like 25 or whatever, right? Yeah. However, I feel like some people's frontal cortex are never going to be fully developed because they choose to continue to see these videos and they go, oh, FEMA's just handing out gas gift cards to everybody, which is like not something that would ever happen. It's
not true. And it's like, the thing about FEMA is there's so much red tape. It can take weeks to get money, if at all. You have to apply. They don't show up at your door. And you have to document everything.
Yeah.
FEMA's very, very hard. So, like, a lot of the people you see handing out food and clothing and gas and all that kind of stuff, those are nonprofits. Yeah. Those are the donations.
They're donations, literally.
Which is the whole point of something like Fight for the Fallen, because we're at the point now where the public, the American public in general, isn't thinking about it that much. So donations start to slow. But people still need to be fed. They need winter clothing. They're still unhoused. They need new roofs. They need stuff. So that's why it's important to do it now. Especially since if AEW had done this when they were in the pits, in the trenches, or the amount of police required to run a public event like this, the amount of traffic control, the amount of lodging you would need, it would be a burden to Asheville to have done this.
Because they weren't ready.
They weren't ready. And you need the hotels to house hurricane victims. And you need the police to keep the community safe and to help people and distribute resources. You need that stuff. And I think sometimes people just don't get how devastating a hurricane is. Because they're like, it's a storm. And, like, I was in Denver and we had a taxi driver who was telling us, oh, I went to Busch Gardens and Universal in Florida 2 weeks after the hurricane and they were perfect and nothing was wrong. And I was like, you do understand, though, that Universal and Busch Gardens have their own police force, their own fire department, their own disaster recovery.
What?
Team. Yes, because they open immediately after, because the tourists come because the lines are shorter. They open immediately. Like Busch Gardens and Universal were open in like 2 days. We're lucky if Disney closes at all in a hurricane. So it's like,
and they're expected to work. These workers are expected. Oh my,
expected to work. Yeah. So like, I was like, sir, you do understand that this isn't like typical for the rest of Florida, right?
Yeah.
Like while you were riding roller coasters at Busch Gardens, 40 minutes away, people were digging out 6 feet of sand from their houses. Like
finding their dead animals, finding their
like
entire lives gone.
Yeah. Like I think people sometimes, like the hurricane comes, they, you know, the morning after or the day after, you get some images on the news and people move on. While, you know, the victims then have to like fight for resources that they need. So like I don't mess around with this hurricane. Like you're whining about it, you're being dramatic, you just want handouts, a nonsense. I hate the misinformation about hurricanes. I hate all of it. I don't mess around with it. And if you now I'm actually gonna cry because like the anti-South rhetoric drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Because the South is full of really, really good people. And sometimes people they like think the South is like a monolith of evil.
Yeah.
And they think that we should all suffer because of that. And I'm like, you just don't get it. Yeah. Like Ryan says, I have friends that lived through Katrina. It's like not every hurricane is Katrina.
Right.
Helene was. Milton was. And so I lived through both of them. And I can tell you, we lost 2 months at my job because of it. But anyway.
Imagine not having pay for 2 months. Like that's the thing. It's like not having pay, so you're going without paychecks. You're probably like certain things aren't covered under your home insurance or your renter's insurance. Or
like, and
how are you going to replenish those items?
Yeah. And like we weren't hit as bad as Asheville was, right? But there are businesses near me that still have not opened because they're still fighting their insurance for like mold removal and mildew and like the stuff that comes when you flood, right? Because you're gonna get mold. It just mold is everywhere in Florida because it's wet all the time. It's just how it is. But yeah, so if you are mad about the Asheville charity show that AW did, block me on everything. Block me on everything. I do not care.
Do me too. Block me. Bye. Bye.
When it comes to helping people and rallying around people in need, there's no room for this. This wrestling tribalism nonsense. Get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a good show. I'm glad Adam Copeland is back. I think that
Cope. His name's Cope.
Cope. My bad, Mr. Cope.
He can have a different wrestling persona because, like, Mercedes Monee is Mercedes Monee, but when she is an actor, she is her real name of Mercedes Varnado, right? Varnado.
How do you pronounce it?
I don't know how to say things. I don't know. Don't ever ask me how to say things because I am neurodivergent, neurospicy. You know, we just kind of create our own whatever.
Yeah, sometimes I read someone's name and my brain just jumps to it and they're like, oh, their name is Bill. But their name is actually like something else. But my brain just sees a B and an L and they're like, oh, hi, Bill.
Yeah.
So like when I read chat, I analyze the name so much. Like I'm like, okay, that is Clown 13420. And I am like, your name is Clown. And I have to like imprint it in my head. Your name is Clown.
I should not see how your name is spelled because I'll just.
And my name is spelled the traditional spelling of Kiley, right? But the Kylie is like a more common way to spell Kiley in America. So like I respond to either. Like my name is Kiley, which is the Irish traditional spelling, but like I respond to either. And it's like my friends have taken to calling me Dr. Reverend. So like and it's evolved now to Mrs. Dr. Reverend. So like people will call me Doc or they'll call me Rev. And I have a multitude of names.
Sure.
It's just, that's just how names are. But
that's just how names are.
If I can be Dr. Reverend, Adam Copeland can be Cope.
Amen.
I'm so glad he's back too. I think he adds so much little wholesome, positive, good vibes. And the FTR thing, don't know where we're going.
Don't know.
I don't see the vision yet. I'm guessing trios champions.
I mean, they're friends. I'll let them be friends.
They're buddies. Mm-hmm. Cash Wheeler. We need to have a heart-to-heart here, bud. I hope you're listening. You need to bring the mullet back. The mullet was so iconic. It was the moment. And no one pulled it off like you did.
I mean, Adam Copeland has a nasty ass mullet now, so.
And Cash Wheeler needs one too, because we're not getting one from Dax. He's bald, right?
Imagine he just has like a little piece.
Imagine he starts wearing a wig. If Dax with a wig, I think I would die of a heart attack.
Same.
I would just
absolutely.
Dax, if you're listening, invest in a wig. Real human hair, cleaned and treated, the whole shenanigans. Cash Wheeler, heart to heart, bud.
I love it.
Cash Wheeler, you're always going to be an attractive man. I'm not taking that away from you. The mullet brought you to next level. It was so iconic. It was so synonymous with Cash Wheeler, with FTR. Bring it back. I don't know who told you to cut it, but they were wrong. I'm sorry. Bring it back. That was like, FTR was the mullet. And now Adam Copeland Mr. Cope, is carrying the weight of the mullet. Mr. Cope. And I think he needs a friend. A mullet buddy. A mully, if you will.
So, speaking of Collision, if you watched Collision last night, what did you think of Toni Storm versus Deonna Purrazzo?
I am so in love with Toni Storm. And it's weird because normally when we do this kind of like meta, like weird wrestling stories, I'm always a little apprehensive. Mm-hmm. But I've been invested in this Toni Storm amnesia thing from the jump. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because Toni Storm is like such a good storyteller. And I think that Toni Storm Deonna, I think she needed it. Because I don't know what's been going on. But Deonna debuts in AEW. There's so much hype. And then she's kind of been like, I don't want to say sidelined because she hasn't been sidelined, but she's been like.
She's been on the losing end of things. Yeah.
On the losing end of things and like not getting like good matches. She's been on the pre-shows, like really quick 5-minute little things. Yeah. And I think that like Toni versus Deonna is a good way to keep them both relevant because I'm guessing Toni, this is just me guessing, I'm guessing Toni is going to become a Mariah May fangirl.
She already is. She's Toni Storm as Mariah May as Toni Storm.
And so I'm guessing that it's like long con, like gonna trick Mariah May, capitalize on her vanity, switcheroo, Toni Storm world champion again, which I'm behind. But I don't want people to forget about Deonna. So Deonna showing up, challenging Toni on World's End, challenging Toni, having a good match on the first Collision on Max, mind you, like the new, what is it? Simulcast era. It was good, and I think Deonna now feels like more of a moving part in the women's division than she did before, which was the goal. And so I don't know if it's going to be Mercedes Deonna. Maybe. I'd be here for it.
Oh, wow.
Because you can't do Deonna Mariah. I guess you could.
You could do anything you wanted. You get to book it.
Deonna wants to go for a title, though. That's what she said. I don't know.
I don't know. I just want to see Deonna Purrazzo booked better, cleaner, with a championship already, Let's go. Anthony, give it to me. Give it to me.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Simeon said, Deanna turned into Mrs. Rampage, and then that show ended. R.I.P. Rampage. Deanna could easily be a Collision pillar. Yeah, because it does feel like they're trying to get back to the spot they were, where Collision had like a completely different vibe to Dynamite. So maybe. I just think that like Dynamite and Collision, like AW this week overall, Wrestle Dynasty as well, we'll throw that in there.
Right.
It definitely felt like they were saying, look how many great talent we have. Just put them out there. One, like Hangman and Orange Cassidy. Like these, just put them out there. Show the people, here's what we got. Here's what we can offer you. Like we can offer you like elite level wrestling at the beginning of the show, elite level wrestling in the middle, and at the end, excellent promos in between, excellent storytelling. Don't know why Jon Moxley is tying people up. Jon Moxley. That's just Jon Moxley core, I guess.
Jon Moxley core. Murder, blood.
That's just who he is. It's just
making everyone pregnant.
I love Jon Moxley. Even though
when he stares at the camera with those eyes, those murderous eyes.
And like the crazy thing is, those are just his eyes. Like he's not acting.
I know.
Those are just his eyes.
Why is he like? Here's the thing, and this is me being a little bit shallow here. I did not understand why Renee Paquette, probably one of the most talented, stunning, gorgeous, everything beautiful person, was with when he was Dean Ambrose, because I was like, he's not my thing, right? I'm also a queer person, so like I know attractive people when I see attractive people. I didn't understand it. The moment he shaved his head, why did he become so hot?
I don't know. I don't know. Some people are just built for buzz cuts. And I think one of them.
Built for buzz cuts. Built for buzz cuts.
Let's get that trending. Built for buzz cuts.
But genuinely, there are some people that just look better with hair and some people who just look better without it. Ricochet, he keeps showing pictures of when he had hair. Boy, I'm so glad that he went bald.
No, for real. No, like genuinely, some people are made to be bald.
Yeah, Dax, definitely. I'm meant to be bald.
Someone needs to clip this and send it to Nick Jackson.
Poor guy.
Bald, my people in the chat. Right. Bald is better than balding. Okay. So if you're balding,
the thing. Like, this is what, like, John Cena's trying to hold on to that hair. And I'm like, boy, it's time to leave it. You need to leave it.
Or go get the
transplant, whatever it is.
Yeah.
They do them in Turkey. They do them real good. I watch those videos all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, they do them everywhere now. And there's no shame in getting one, by the way.
Do what you want.
There's no shame in going bald either. I don't want it to sound like we're mocking people. Because, like, there's no shame in going bald. It happens to everyone.
Nick Jackson and I are like a couple months apart, right?
Yeah.
Why is it so? It's like, I've seen his dad. It makes sense.
Yes. Isn't genetics weird though? Because like Matt Jackson is not balding at all.
At all.
But
he takes his mom's side.
And it's weird because like typically the male pattern baldness, it's father or son. Like that's where the genes lie.
That's a thing. But I would feel if I'm in a tag team with my brother who has like Pantene Pro V level of luscious looks,
beautiful hair,
and
princess hair.
You are the what? He's younger, right, than Matt.
Yeah,
and he has something going on. You have all the money in the world. Well,
Yeah.
kind of. But you have money. But like they also have like those fiber powders, right? Have you seen those guys on TikTok who like do the fiber powders and they do the it's like micro needling here and they do the fiber powders and they do the stimuli. Something needs to happen. Either start that or don't. I don't know.
And like here's the thing. There's no shame in balding.
Absolutely.
End of discussion. Like I don't entertain critiques on people's looks when it's not something natural and whatever. If you want to say his outfits are ugly, go for it because sometimes they are ugly.
I love it. It's carny shit. I love it.
The pearl necklaces. We've circled back. The pearl necklaces.
Iconic.
Bald is not a bad look, is the conclusion here. Sometimes people look better when they're bald. Sometimes people look better when they get the hair transplants and they, they're whatever pattern baldness. I am not in the know on what hair transplant science is like, but sometimes people look better when they do that. It all comes down to like your confidence. Like what would make you feel more confident? And if you feeling more confident is balding and embracing like the natural progression, go for it. I don't care. But ultimately, there's no shame in being bald and we need to remove the stigma.
Some people just don't have the skull for it.
Oh yeah, my skull is a little oddly shaped.
Mine, I have like from like an injury. Like I have this weird crease that goes up like that.
Yeah, I have a weird I have a bump in the middle of my forehead from smacking my head on a table when I was a kid.
Wow.
I was at school and my teacher, I don't even remember what happened. It was like 4th grade or 3rd grade or something. And like the kidney shaped tables, I was running because my teacher was like rushing me to go grab something because we were cleaning. And I smacked my head on the table. And then I have just like random bumps and bruises because I was like, I played rough as a kid.
Oh.
I got smacked with a few baseball bats. Got punched a couple times. Fell off a few monkey bars, a couple slides. I was a rough kid.
Same.
But you know what? That builds tough kids. And I was a tough kid.
That's why we get along so well.
Is what I'm saying. I have some scars. I have some lumps. But you know what? We're proud of her. We're proud of her.
Absolutely.
I have a scar like somewhere over here, like behind my ear, from where my cousin absolutely shreked me with a soccer ball.
Say shreked.
She shreked me.
Shrek as
she was yes. She was much older than me. So it was like if Shrek threw something at me. I was little. I was like 7. And we had these like plastic soccer balls that we could like take out of the garage and practice soccer drills. And she picked it up. She was mad at me because I don't even remember why she was mad at me, but she picked it up and launched it at me. She shreked it. Shreked it right at me. And I have a scar from that. And then all I remember was after that I cried and my auntie took me into the garage and fed me shrimp cocktail. That's all I remember about what happened after that.
I love learning about you so
much. I
much.
have whack childhood. I have so many stories. I'll just like gradually share them.
I can't wait. I can't wait to hear more. But
yeah.
Wow. What a week of wrestling.
What a week of wrestling. Young Bucks need to bring back the tassel. Simeon, I agree. It would be so cute. I wanted to go up. Chaotic Kojima shares Kenny Omega forced Tony's hand last night. Kenny has to dethrone Mox and is probably the only guy that could bring a level of popularity and worthwhile story to impact AEW. We're on the same page. Chaotic Kojima, if you go back to the beginning of the stream, I talked about that for 45 minutes. No joke, dude. 45 minutes.
Amen. Amen.
Jose is right. Shrimp cocktail makes everything better. And like the weird
now
thing
I want shrimp cocktail. I haven't eaten breakfast yet.
I think I had never had shrimp cocktail before then. I think that was my first time having shrimp cocktail.
What a fun time to have shrimp cocktail, man.
I was crying hard too. because I never cried as a kid because I was in like a family who was very much like, you don't cry. So I feel like it really stuck with me because I was crying really hard. But yeah.
That's all. I didn't know that about you. I always cried. I have some emotional trauma from crying, which is why I love that there is such a wonderful space like this to exist where I can cry freely about the things that I am passionate about and love so much. So thank you.
Yeah, 1000%. Ryan says, as a vegan of 15 years, I'll pass on the shrimp. No, listen, I've been vegan for 7 years. I get it. Jose says kids are crying. Break out the shrimp. maybe like we need to run an experiment.
Hey, Bubba.
You know when you're at like, I love your dogs.
He's in his pajamas.
Does he want some shrimp?
Archer is not a shrimp boy. He doesn't like seafood.
Is he a chicken boy?
He is a chicken boy. Archer, do you want chicken? Do you want some chicken? Do you want...
Let me pull that up so we can see him. There we go.
Do you want chicken? Why are you shaking, bud?
He's excited about the chicken.
Do you see both of my dogs are cuddling? Oh, there we go.
He said, we're not cuddling. Don't expose us like that.
Miss Penny.
Penny.
Oh, she's penny taker right now. She's asleep.
Okay.
Her third eyelid is open. So, Mr. Buddy.
I love the dogs. I love that they make special appearances on the show.
Mr. Buddy, what are you doing?
What's happening?
Oh, he's just stealing laundry. It's fine. He's fine.
Stealing? Maybe he's doing it for you.
No, he wants my attention for sure. This has been 2 hours of excitement when they.
But to be fair, 45 minutes of that was just Kenny Omega. So that doesn't count.
Honestly, it's been well overdue. We've been needing to just talk about Kenny Omega.
Yeah, I've been holding it in. I'm going to be honest, guys, because there's nobody in my life really that will let me just rant about Kenny Omega. Like Kate, I will send Kate 20-minute long voice messages and she listens to them.
Yeah.
She listens to them. And like, I haven't done that in a while because I've been like bottling up my Kenny Omega. And I was like, there's so many points where I like go to talk to someone about Kenny Omega and I'm like, I have to save it for Collins. I'm like, I have to save it. Wrestling made me cry. We have to save it. The people want it. I think about like all of our, at our every week viewers. I'm like, they want me to save that for them. So I save it for you.
Thank you. I feel so honored.
Here's my picture of Kenny Omega again. If you wanted a reminder, listen, while we were doing this, hold on, let me find it. Where is it? Okay. This picture, I saw it on Blue Sky. It's Kenny Omega after the show, covered in white blood, in his like dorky little gym outfit. I just thought it was so cute.
Do you hear this music?
Yeah, what is that?
So, leaving my apartment complex in a motorcycle, blasting the Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars song.
I respect it. That's a hell of a sound system for a motorcycle.
That was so loud.
Yes. I respect it.
Gosh. All right. Well, Kiley, it's been 2 hours. 2 hours and 8 minutes.
Do you want to give your final thoughts and your plugs?
Final thoughts and plugs. We already have match of the year, so I guess we could chop up shop and get the hell out of here. I'm excited for
Ryan says Shota's outside Auntie's place on the bike.
Yeah, right after.
Can you imagine
Wrestle Dynasty?
Like, I heard you were talking shit. I don't know what I would do.
That's like a 24-hour plane ride.
Well, he rode his bike across the Pacific. In Iron Man, how he flies everywhere in like 2 seconds. That's Shota on his bike.
Oh my gosh. I'm just excited for more Dynasty on Max, more things to come. They need to upload more of the archive content because they only have from 2019, from when they started, until the end of 2019, and then a couple weeks of 2024.
Yeah.
I need my Pandemic, Daily's Place, Dynamite episodes. I got things to rewatch. So, Tony.com.
Listen, that was some good wrestling.
I know. I gotta see it. But all in all, that's how I'm gonna be spending a lot of my January, is rewatching things. And hopefully enjoying myself with some reality television as well. We have Traders is coming back. I have Summer House when it comes back. My Real Housewives are on right now. I got so many things to watch. So little time.
I've been keeping track of all the movies that I watched this year so far, and my goal is to keep it going the whole year of like all the movies that I watched. And maybe I'll post like monthly summaries. But I went and saw Nosferatu. Excellent. It was so good.
Is it as spooky as people are saying online? Like, is it like...
It's not spooky like jump scare, blood and gore spooky. It's spooky like utterly disturbing.
Perfect.
Yes.
Love that. I will be watching it during the day, not at night.
Yes.
Because just the preview of it, I go, oh, that's going to disturb me for a while.
It's disturbing. It is like not just unsettling. It is like psychologically disturbing. But like, and it's also like visually one of the best movies I've seen. It's really good.
Did you enjoy the Lily Rose Depp?
Are you frozen?
Oh, am I frozen?
Yeah. I think you froze. Did I enjoy what?
Lily Rose Depp. What did you think?
Like in Nosferatu? Or like what do I think about her in general?
No, her in the movie, because the last I saw her was that terrible show with The Weeknd.
Yeah. She was good, but I think try not to give too many spoilers. The actor that plays Nosferatu and the actor that plays Thomas, I can't remember his name, I'm so sorry, knocked it out of the park. Like career-defining performances. The actor that plays I'm trying so hard not to give so many spoilers. There's 2 doctors.
Okay.
The actor that plays the second doctor stole the show.
Okay. Good to know.
Like Lily Rose Depp was good. There's another what is her name? I can't remember this actress's name. What is her name? And she's in everything too. I feel really bad, but she was really good as well. But it was just like a really great cast, like a really well casted movie. At the end of the day, and Fernando's right. It is basically the Dracula story, but like Nosferatu OG is based on the Dracula story.
Interesting.
So it's not like plagiarism. That's like, but no, it was really good. I think if you're like a real film fan, then it's like everything you want in a movie. And even if you're like a casual horror fan, it's like very, very disturbing. Oh yeah. So Bill Skarsgård, and Aaron Taylor Johnson is in it. I totally forgot. Also really good. I just really like the movie. Ultimately.
All right. Well, I saw Sonic 3, which it's great. Watch it again.
I have not seen Sonic 3, but we'll trade off. You watched Nosferatu. I'll watch Sonic 3.
Very different movies.
But you know what? That's kind of the joy of film.
It is.
And that's kind of the joy of wrestling. I think that's what I really love about wrestling.
I do. There's something for everyone. And I can love deathmatch wrestling just as much as I can love comedy wrestling.
Period. I also just want to say the sun is so bright outside right now that my camera is adjusting the white balance to where my ring light doesn't show.
I was about to ask you, did you turn off your ring light?
No, she's on. She's on full too. The sun is just so bright right here that this is just Florida. It's just what happens. Do you want to do your plugs?
Well, hi, I'm Auntie Collins. If you didn't know, I'm over at all social media _Queer Auntie. If you can't find me _Queer Auntie, it's most likely because that social media website does not like underscores. Blue sky. If you want to know when I'm going live on any day of the week here, go follow all my social medias, because then you'll be able to get a glimpse of when I'm going live. Mondays, tomorrow, we are doing Women's Classic Wrestling. We are in the semifinals for the Mae Young Classic. Thursdays, we'll be going over Ring of Honor, which I'm not going to be on this episode. I don't know if there's going to be an episode. I need a little bit of break from Ring of Honor. I'll be back for their 100th episode, but if you want to know, but that's over at our local establishment. And then I'm going to be on another show that is not wrestling related, and it is related to RuPaul's Drag Race, which RuPaul's Drag Race is very similar to wrestling in their presentation. And I'm going to be doing that with Jose on the air, which I'm so freaking stoked. So if you want
to be so fun,
if you want to watch us kiki, I'm so stoked because I know one of the queens on there. Yeah. Oh my God.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, wrestling is drag. So
yeah, wrestling is, and like that. We'll save this for another episode. I was just going to go on a tangent, but you've been here for 2 hours. You don't want to hear it. My plugs.
Yeah, go ahead.
You can find me on Twitter and on Blue Sky at Kiley Wrestling. I posted some stuff about Wrestle Dynasty and Wrestle Kingdom. I didn't live tweet them because I quite frankly just wanted to be in the moment. I'm going to be real with you. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. Live tweeting it kind of takes you out a little bit. But you can see my thoughts at Kiley Wrestling. This is Wrestling Made Me Cry. It's a show where me and Collins come on here every week, and we just chit-chat about the wrestling that we like. Things that made us cry. So it's every Sunday at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, 5 p.m. British, wherever you fall. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is in like Japanese time because that's so far ahead, and my brain does not compute time that far ahead, but wherever it is, just Eastern time, 12 noon. On Fightful Overbooked, and this is Fightful Overbooked. This is a channel full of amazing people with wrestling content and non-wrestling content, so make sure you go when we're done here and check out all the other incredible shows on this channel. And there's a lot of them and a lot of good content, so make sure you do that. Ryan says, allegedly, I had a fling with the former Drag Race competitor.
Ooh.
We're going to need that story one day, Ryan.
Ooh.
We're going to need it one day. Alexa Bliss Gamer says, I'm excited for Raw on Netflix. Same. I don't know if Raw is going to change that much, but I think it's fun. I think it's good for wrestling to have AEW succeeding on Max and Raw on Netflix and like the streaming era. It shows that it's like, not to get too like economical, but it shows that it's like a worthwhile thing to invest in. So I'm excited. All that being said, Kenny Omega is the GOAT, the best ever, untouchable, alone on the top of the mountain, one of one, no competition, irreplaceable, all the things. Period. All that being said, thank you guys so much for joining us on this incredibly long but fun episode of Wrestling Made Me Cry. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.